Welcome to another episode of United for a Healthy Stoughton. My name is Stephanie Patton, and I'm the host for your show. Today, our episode is Start with Hello Week at OMS, and we're here on location at the O'Donnell Middle School. And I have some guests with me today. So I have Mr. Colantonio, who's the principal down here at the middle school, Mr. Block, and I have two students with me today, Morgan Groppi and Andrea Craig, both seventh graders. So welcome to the show, you guys. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So we're going to start out with Mr. Colantonio, and we're going to sort of set the stage for what this episode is about. And so one of the things that's been going on here at the middle school is you guys are always doing a lot of work to make sure everybody feels included here and that you have a real culture of inclusivity. And sometimes things happen in middle schools and in high schools, not just here, but across the country, that are kind of icky. Mm-hmm. So can you talk to us a little bit, Mr. Colantonio, about kind of why this week was really important to you guys and some of the context leading up to it?
Sure. So thanks for coming to the O'Donnell Middle School today. Welcome to the Learning Commons. Start with Hello Week really is the result of a lot of things. So first, it's sort of part of middle school culture and school climate that I think has always been true for middle school, is students are kind of learning about themselves and their identity, getting along with each other. It's a time when kids are kind of insecure, and so kids can kind of be not super nice to each other. And so I think it's always been part of the non-academic middle school curriculum to teach kids how to interact with each other, to teach kids or to promote a positive school culture. That's sort of always been the case for middle schools. And in the current climate of not only the town of Stoughton, but the region and the nation, I think it's even more important. There's a lot of discord out there. There's a lot of pretty intense hate speak on the uptick, pretty public instances of people not getting along, not being able to disagree with respect. And so I think in the current climate, it's even more important to do these things. And then the last piece is, it has to do with news. So, in schools, bad news seems to get spread pretty quickly. Right. And people tend to focus on the bad news. And we don't really focus on the good news as much. So I think part of the effort was just trying to kind of spread some good news, some positivity that's going on in school. Yep. For the most part, almost all kids are positive and doing positive things, and they are seldom kind of celebrated in the news, so that was kind of part of it too. Yep,
which we absolutely love to feature on the show, because we know that most kids are making really great choices here in Stoughton, and there are a lot of really amazing things, and you're right, I think we don't get to hear about that typically, so that's really important for me to be able to showcase some of the great work that you guys are doing. And so, Mr. Block, you are the faculty advisor for the school council, right? So do you want to talk a little bit about that and the role that school council took in this week, and then we're going to have the students talk about some of the activities that they did.
Sure. I'm the student council advisor, and it's made up of students from grades 6, 7, and 8, and they're basically the voice of the student body. So they were nominated by teachers, by staff, and by themselves to be a part of the student council. And ever since last year, we actually have been having some discussions about bullying and hate speech, and how we could do something to bring awareness to it and to spread some positivity instead. So this has kind of been brewing since last spring, and then Mr. Gulia approached me at the beginning of this year about Start with Hello Week, which is part of the Sandy Hook Promise. So I did some research on that, and we partnered with them, and that's how this week was born. So I came back to the students and said, what do you think about this? And they were like, let's go for it. So we started to put it together, and it was a lot of student input. It was a lot of doing some research into bullying, social isolation, and we came up with some activities for each of the days that I'm sure the students will get into in a few minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, so it stemmed from that, and the students went full-heartedly into planning it, and yeah, so that's where it went. And basically, the idea of Start with Hello Week is to bring awareness around social isolation and bullying, and to come up with ways in order to prevent that. And at the core of it, it's basically start with hello, where you can always make that connection with someone by just saying hello, introducing yourself.
Yep.
To make sure people don't feel isolated, that you see someone sitting at lunch, maybe you invite them into your table, which was what we kind of did with Mix It Up Day at lunch on Wednesday. And just kind of some strategies and ways, and to make people, and even if some students didn't want to participate, it was just enough to make them aware that this is something that is happening in the school. And we're not, OMS is not the perfect middle school. It's not a place, like there are people that feel this way. Just because you go to lunch and have all these friends doesn't mean that everyone feels that way.
Right.
So to make people aware that this is happening, and even if we got 20 students to maybe change their ways, like that's what this week was all about.
Great. Awesome. So let's jump into what the week was, some of the things that happened. So on Monday, you guys did Start with Hello Day. So I know if Morgan or Andrea, if one of you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so on the in the mornings of every day this week, Monday through Friday, we had a welcome committee, which was, it made whenever the students walked into school, it made them feel really good, and that they might have met someone new because you're saying hello to someone new. And I think it made all the students like happy in the morning to just walk into like a joyful place.
Great. So that's a really nice way to start the day for everybody. Yep.
Yeah.
You want to add to that a
Some
little bit?
things that we did, like every day we would say, hi, have a nice day today on Halloween, because this took place during Halloween week.
Yep.
We were saying happy Halloween and saying like, have a nice Halloween. And I feel like it put a lot of smiles on students' faces, and I think it helped them have a very nice day.
Awesome. So that was the kickoff. That was sort of the very first thing that you guys did to set the stage for the whole
Yeah,
week.
we also had name tags, which all the students got on Monday, which I think was better because you might not have known a student's name, and now you learned something new, and you might have said hi to like someone you never knew existed before, which I think was really good.
Excellent. So then Tuesday was Positivity Day, right? So tell me a little bit about what Positivity Day was about.
We had like in the front of the school building, there right near the main office, there is a whole wall right near the courtyard that is filled with a lot of positive sticky notes. So students were able to grab a sticky note from like Mr. Block or one of their teachers and come around during the school day and just stick it up on the wall, which and then a student would go by there and read these positive comments, which would make them feel really good.
Some of these comments were they were like very kind. They were like, be kind. Some said like, you're amazing, you're unique, and you're talented, like things like that to make people very happy about themselves. Because we're trying to have a happy community in all of the middle school, and we want everyone to feel like they're special in their own ways.
Terrific. Great. So then Wednesday, it looks like you guys did two things. You had Mix It Up at lunch, and then you did Breaking Down the Wall of Intolerance.
So Mix It Up Day, it was really good because at lunch, we all got colored wristbands or like bracelets that we had on, and we got handed them in like fourth period or whenever the person had lunch. And then you go and find a table that had your color, and then you got to go sit with someone that you never, like maybe you haven't sat with before, like all these like friend groups, and then you can actually talk with someone new that you might not sit with, but they're still your friend, and you got to talk to new people and meet someone new.
The Wall of Intolerance was actually located here in the Learning Commons. So we had a wall that kind of looked like a brick wall, and on every brick that we had, it kind of had something that might have happened to someone that wasn't very good, like maybe someone said something not the very nicest, and then we were breaking down the wall by having some teachers come in with their students, and they were taking off bricks and reading them, and they were kind of thinking how they could make things better with that. Like if someone called someone a rude name, maybe a student could say that and say, oh, well, maybe I can start and have some nice comments to people. Like I can walk around and say, hi, like I like your shirt, it looks really nice, or like I love your hair color, it's pretty.
The peer leadership group and some other like voluntary classes around the school were the ones who actually wrote the bricks. And as Morgan was saying, I think it was really good because you could see what some people were experiencing, like around maybe in the halls or around the school day, that were obviously not nice things that now it brought to our attention, so now we can change that. Yeah.
Awesome. So the way the bricks came down was the students came up with a solution to that
Yeah, and talked
challenge
about it with
and
their
talked about it.
teachers.
Excellent. Great. And what was it like to have lunch with people that you maybe didn't normally sit with? Because I know that can be tricky sometimes, especially for middle school kids.
So we had I think 5 colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had different like colors at tables in the lunchroom, and there are a few tables of one color, so like we're not going to crowd everyone.
Yeah.
But basically, if someone didn't feel that comfortable, we want people to meet new friends, but we also said if you don't feel very comfortable, you can bring a friend, but we're trying to have you guys make new friends.
Yep.
So I know that I saw some tables, and there were some kids that I don't usually see sitting together. That might not be on the same team, or they might be on a different team, but they were sitting together and having a very nice time, and they were having conversations.
And I definitely saw some people now, like now sit with new people.
Oh, wow.
And that was really like positive influence on us.
Oh, that's excellent.
And I actually personally went around during period 4 and passed out all of the bracelets. And I made the students aware. A lot of them I could tell were a little nervous, a little anxious about sitting somewhere they don't know.
Yeah.
And I made them aware that this feeling that most of them had about this uncertainty and this nervousness is a feeling that a lot of students have every day going to lunch, like not having anyone to sit with.
Right.
So I think that was a real light bulb moment for a lot of students that, this is how some of our students feel every day.
Yep.
Some of my classmates feel.
Yep.
And just that experience, we actually, a lot of faculty members, we were unsure how it was going to go with the 8th graders. We knew
Yeah.
6th graders were gonna go for it, but the 8th graders, we were a little unsure of how they would react to it. But Mr. Colantonio came in afterwards and was like, that was a different cafeteria. Like they really went for it
Yep.
in a way that I didn't think that they would. So it was really nice to see them participating and truly engaging in some conversations with new people at their tables.
In the morning at the morning announcements, Mr. Block sent a video so we could show it to the whole school, and I think it was really good because it showed like a child or student who was getting left out and had felt this way. So now we were all brought to the attention of that.
Great. And so everybody had a little bit of that experience, but then also it sounds like made some new friends.
Yeah. So now there's like new people sitting at lunch together.
Excellent. Great. So that sounds like that was a great day. And then Thursday was Mosaic Day. So talk a little bit about what that was.
Okay, so what we did is in our homerooms, we all got a little card of paper, and what we did was we gave out like markers and things, and you would get to put your name on it, and you got to put like some of your hobbies, like maybe a lacrosse stick or like a soccer ball or like something like you like painting or something. And then we had the homeroom teachers collect them and bring them to Mr. Block. And then after school, we had some students volunteer to make a big mosaic in the cafetorium. And when we went in there the next day, there was a bunch of mosaics on the wall, and we were showing. It's kind of showing how the community came together, and we made a big mosaic, and it was really nice and colorful.
Nice. Great. And so is that still up there? Or?
Yeah, you can go and
It's
see it
still
right
hanging.
now.
Cool.
That is, we're actually putting some finishing touches on it.
Yeah.
But all of the tiles are up, and it's really cool to see all of the different tiles up there. And really, the tiles were made to represent who they are as a person. So, like Morgan said, it was their interests, their hobbies, but also their backgrounds. A lot of students, faculty put flags like where they're from. Different parts of their culture. So it was really nice to see all of that come together. And that was the intent of the Mosaic Day, where even though we are all different, and we all bring different things to the table, we all come together in one OMS community. So
Yep.
that's kind of what the Mosaic represents.
Excellent. And then Friday was hashtag OMS starts with hello and pledge day. And you guys said there was human bingo that day.
Yeah.
Too.
So the human bingo, practically, at the beginning of the school day, we got, if you wanted to, you didn't have to participate in it, but you got like a bingo sheet. So practically, you were supposed to go around the school and try to meet someone new that had like the different question, like, have you been to another country? Do you speak another language? And then they'd sign their name on there. So you're trying to meet someone. So that was practically like the point of the whole bingo, human bingo.
Okay, great. And what was the pledge that you guys did? Was there a pledge that day?
The banner.
Oh, the banner, yeah. So at lunch we had a big banner, and we had it set out on a big long table, kind of like this one. And we had students come up throughout lunch and sign it with their names. And we actually have it hanging up near the stairs towards the front of the building. And it has like the Start with Hello Week symbol on it, and it has everyone's names. And it's kind of showing how we all came together this week to form a nice, strong community, and we're all coming together and making new friends. And we're getting together and having a very nice.
Great. So you guys said people weren't required to participate, but most students participated
But that
in
was
this
the point
week.
of the week, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So what kinds of things did you guys learn, like as a school council, as a student council, or maybe that other students said to you that they learned by the end of the week?
I think a lot of students learned like what some kids really feel like, as Mr. Block was saying, how some people do feel left out, but they don't speak up about it. They're not going to say it, which maybe hopefully brought up attention to the students around the school, and now they're probably hopefully like adding them, like making sure they're including them and talking to them and trying to make sure that they don't feel that isolation.
So I know some students, I could see it. So like in lunch, some people don't really get to sit with people because they might not have as many friends as someone else, or they might not be as popular as someone else. But with this week, we brought new friends. I definitely met some new people myself that were actually really nice and sweet. So I know other people have made some new friends. So it was kind of making the community a better place and making us a stronger people together.
Awesome, because those connections are super important, right? So because you don't want people to feel isolated or alone, and so you can all help each other. That's
Everyone's
awesome.
standing together.
Yep. So if you guys, are there things that happened that week that you thought, oh, this is so great, we definitely need to do this again as a school, or you're planning to do again?
Personally, I think the welcome committee was honestly awesome because every day when I walked into school, it made me like really happy whenever I was walking past there.
Yep.
Because they're making, when everyone was saying like all these happy things to you, and it started off your day really great, and it just made me and a lot of other kids feel really great.
Right.
I also like the committee. So what we did was we had maybe 10 students.
Yeah.
They were like kind of holding the doors and standing in the entry, because we have an entry that everyone goes in the beginning of the day. And we were saying like, hi, have a nice day today, and like be kind and stuff. So I feel like it put a lot of smiles on people's faces. And I did notice that some teachers walking by, and they put smiles on their faces. And actually one of my science teachers, she was actually talking about it in class, like how we can all come together and we can be strong and we can be nice and make some new friends.
So that's actually a really good point. So it sounds like because things were happening throughout the day and you guys were talking about like the wall of intolerance and how the teachers were involved, were there other places where sometimes teachers took advantage of the fact this week was going on and brought stuff up in class?
Yeah, like with the kindness wall, I know a lot of like the teachers were encouraging you to write new things, and as I said, like many people were walking by there, and then like maybe they read something that put a smile on their face. Yeah, I just think that they were involved with it a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, and I definitely saw a lot of my colleagues making connections with what the week was all about. And I know the 8th graders are reading the book The Giver right now, which really tied right into this week. That was an accident.
Yeah.
But it tied in
That's okay.
perfectly.
Right.
And the 6th graders were doing some writing on bullying, and they added to our wall of intolerance. So it was nice to see that teachers were taking advantage and really having meaningful discussions in their classroom.
Yep.
And I think a discussion point that we made about if we do this again in the future is seeing if we can actually connect this a little more to our curriculum and have a lot more teachers take advantage of that.
Yep.
So it's exciting to see where this will go in the future and what obviously we can't do the same thing because it gets boring.
Right.
But like we have to be innovative, we have to come up with some new ideas, and that's where the students come in, and I'm sure my colleagues will have some ideas as well. So
Yep. And did you guys pull parents in at all into this week? I imagine a letter went home just letting them know what was going on, but was there any other way for them to be involved or?
Yeah, no, we really just sort of kept them informed. We're not involved in the ins and outs of the day at
Yep.
this age. We kind of keep parents informed, but parents don't chaperone the middle school
Right.
dances. Children want naturally a little bit of distance from their parents on the
Yep.
the daily workings of things. But we really try to keep parents informed of what was going on. Not only so that they knew what their kids were doing that day, but these are conversations that we want
Right.
to encourage them to have at home, and some of them are difficult conversations. If kids are really feeling isolated and they didn't mix it up at lunch day, that's a good conversation to have.
Right.
And then for parents who are visiting or coming in for other events, the week was amazing. Each day was amazing. The kickoff was pretty profound when the first day that the students were greeting everyone who came into the building with hello, and every single person in the building having that name tag. There was really something very symbolic about that. Everyone was included. Nobody was left out of
Yep.
the name tags. But the week was also filled with, through the hard work of students and all the faculty involved, with all the symbolism, so that now, the week is over, and it was a great week, and so we're feeling the effects of that week, and I think kids have made some new friends, and we sent a positive message and all those good things, but the mosaic is still there.
Right.
It's in the cafetorium. You can, if you walk by right now, you
Yep.
see it.
Yep.
The Post-its are still in the main lobby, and all of those windows into the courtyard are covered with those Post-its still. The banner is hanging with all the student signatures. So
Yep.
I think there was a certain symbolism behind the week, too, that is kind of still there. So when parents walk in and see those Post-its, we wanted them to have a frame of reference for that and say, oh, that's that thing that they did.
Yep. Yep.
So.
And I think it's a really nice balance of, I mean, some of these are really hard things to talk about, either
Yeah.
with your friends, right, or with your teachers, with your parents, and can be things that, sometimes things happen in school that are concerning, right? But you guys, this is such a hopeful, positive way of sort of showing how students really care about each other and how everybody in the building, how all the adults in the building care about the students, and I think that just that tone is really, really great. So how is that? So Mr. Colantonio talked a little bit about sort of the residual effects. How do you guys feel like it's changed, or do you think it's changed the culture here in the couple weeks since that week happened?
Yeah, I definitely think that students are still, as I said, like they're including new people. They're actually talking since they met someone new at like the Mix It Up Day. When you're seeing like on the wall of intolerance, seeing these different things that kids have experienced.
Yep.
Now I think that's brought to their attention, so maybe they're trying to not make that happen anymore. And then when they're seeing, as Mr. Colantonio said about the Post-it notes on the main lobby, that's still like what it's about, so it still makes you really happy. And yeah.
Great.
Also, so in the courtyard we do have glass on both sides. So from the other side of the hall you can actually see the Post-it notes, and it's really beautiful. And you can see all the colors. It's kind of showing how everybody came together as a community to put up that wall of kind thoughts. And by looking at those thoughts, you can think to yourself that some people don't really get to think these thoughts. They might actually not be that happy. So by doing this, we can make those people feel happier, and we can have them interact with everyone else.
Yep. And I think it's probably also important for us to sort of remind folks as we start to come to the close of the show, if you're watching this and you have a student who you are worried is feeling a little disconnected or sad or isolated, who are some of the resources here in the school that they can talk to? You guys can answer this question too, but.
They can definitely go to the guidance office. There's definitely a lot of people there that could help you out. You can also talk to like a teacher, because all the teachers here are really nice and supportive, and they'll listen to you what you're saying. And obviously you can still go to the office and go talk to them about it, because they're obviously going to be supportive about it too.
Yep. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. They hit all the.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Lots of important, caring adults here in the building too. So we want to remind folks at home who are watching that, if you're worried about somebody, there are so many great
There are lots
resources
of
right
people
here
here.
in this
They
building.
can speak up, because we have Officer Bonda too.
Oh yeah.
We've got the guidance counselors, which
Yep.
are amazing. We've got Mr. Colantonio, and we've got Mr. Goulian, Miss Burak, and we've got all the other wonderful staff in this building.
Yep.
I would also urge students that want to get involved, or the best place to do that is in an after-school club. We have so many
Yes.
clubs here at OMS,
Yeah.
and there's something that probably meets everyone's interests.
Yep.
So get involved, join a club, see if it's right for you. I think that's a great way to start and to kind of get a little more into the school community rather than just coming to school and leaving.
Right.
Join a club.
Yep, and it's a great way to meet people and
Yeah,
make
that
new
have the
friends.
same
that-
interests and-
right? Absolutely.
Like there's robotics club, there's I think a drum club, then
Drum
there's
club,
the
drama
Jazz
club.
band.
I saw people playing tennis just,
Yeah,
you know, in the
tennis
gym,
club.
there's like
right?
intramurals.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that can kind of bring together people. Like someone might be on like, for instance, 6A and someone might be on 16 and might go to a club and be like, oh, I never knew that you like the same thing as me. Maybe sometime we can hang out and like maybe work on our field hockey skills or something.
Yep.
Just right.
Awesome. Awesome. So we are coming to the end of the show. So I would love to give each of you an opportunity if you have a last thing you really want to say to our audience at home.
Okay, well, I just want to close up and say, like, this week was honestly really effective, and we really hope that it impacted all the students, that this week, like, all the activities that we had, I think they were really amazing, and they brought it together, and I hope we can do it again.
Awesome.
And kind of like to add on to what Andrea said, this week put a lot of smiles on people's faces, and it kind of showed people that if they feel left out, they can stand up and they can go to they have a voice. They're not alone. There's other people who feel like them every day, and by doing this, we got to make them feel special.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just think as a teacher, for me, it's not all about teaching my students. I teach music, but it's not all about teaching music, teaching quarter notes. It's about educating the whole student and to become a great citizen and a great person. So I think this week was amazing, and I hope that we all continue to strive to move forward, to spread positivity and hope for a better future. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight the students. I mean, Andrea and Morgan are two amazing students, and they are representing, you know, the more than 50 students, student council, peer leaders who helped kind of organize the week. And then those kids are representing the hundreds of kids who really got into the week and made it run. So these are difficult conversations for as I mentioned, parents to have, and that's why we put it out. But
Right.
for kids, I think it's very brave for kids to say, we are doing this, and this is a positive week. And not every kid in this school is going to be loving this week, and they're
Right.
going to be like, oh, that's not for me. But for the most part, these kids really sparked a little bit of a movement that week, and most kids were into it. I mean, that 8th grade Mix It Up at lunch day.
Yeah.
I said, let's see how this goes, and let's see if they do this. To
Right.
be honest with you, I didn't
Yeah.
know what would happen, and when I walked into that lunchroom, I said, wow, this is pretty profound. It was very impressive. So
Yeah.
I would just want to highlight the kids and the amazing work they did that week.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you to all of you for, you know, having this show here today. I'm so impressed with the week that you guys had. It sounds like it was fantastic, amazing leadership from the students and from the faculty and staff. And I think, you know, and I know you guys do a lot of things like this, and sometimes, you know, as we were saying earlier in the show, this is the stuff that we forget to talk about, but it's the stuff that's so important. So thank you to all of you for
Thank you.
hosting
Thank
us
you.
here on location, and
Thank
come
you.
back and be on the show anytime.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you
thank
very
you.
much.